My composition set up. I've got my high-res picture in the background. I want to set up my UFO with the multipass stuff so that I can create some glows and use these multipass renders that I've done and get a bit of control over my UFO. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to grab the beauty pass, so just the plain old render, and I'm going to put that into its own composition. So I'm going to drag and drop it onto the new composition button, and that will create a composition with this footage with the same resolution and frame rate as the original rendered sequence. And if I scrub through this, we can see there's my UFO spinning and animated, and because I told it to loop 100 times, it's quite a long composition. It's over 3 minutes long. That's fine. I can trim it if I need less of it later on, but that's fine. I'm happy with that. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set up multipass layers so that I can isolate the windows and, in my case, the top dome of the UFO. So the reason I'm doing this is so I can put glows on the windows and the dome separately and have a lot of control over them. So this is going to be my beauty pass. I'm going to leave this in the background. If I want to, I can select it, hit return on my keyboard and type in beauty so I know that's my beauty pass. Okay, so the next step is to isolate the dome part. So I'm going to bring that same render into my composition again. So I've got two layers on top of each other that are exactly the same. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get object buffer number 2 for me, which is the dome, and I'm going to put that on top of my layers that I've got. So I've got the beauty pass that I want to keep, and I've also got the same pass again, but with this black and white multipass render on the top of it. I'm going to use this to cut out the dome on this layer. So the way that we do that is we go to our render that we've got of the whole UFO, not the beauty pass, and I want to set a track matte for it. So a track matte takes a layer and uses its black and white values or its transparency to cut out parts of another layer or make them transparent. Now I want to use the track matte setting. If this isn't visible, if you can't see that, there's little toggle switches and modes down the bottom, and that flicks between your effects and your different types of transparency modes. So with my UFO layer, I want to set a Luma matte. So Luma matte uses the black and white values of a layer to cut out parts of another layer. So I've got my UFO, it's a Luma matte, I've got the black and white multipass image on top of it, and that should have turned off its visibility, which is what we want. So now we've got this part, the dome, isolated. Now to try and make this a little tidier in my composition window, I'm just going to select that layer, hit return on my keyboard and call it UFO dome. And that black and white layer that I had on top, if I hit return, I'm going to call that UFO dome track matte, so I know which one's which. Now I'm going to do that exact same process again with my other object buffer so that I can cut out the windows and isolate those. So that's all done. I can bring in my UFO again, put it on the top. I'm going to grab my other object buffer, which is object buffer number 1, which is my windows. And this new UFO layer, that's going to have a Luma matte. Let's hide the one underneath so I can see exactly what I've got. So I've got this layer is isolating just the windows, and I'm going to rename that UFO Windows, and this is UFO Windows Track Matte. So now I've got these layers that make up my composition of the UFO. I've got the beauty pass, which is the whole thing. I've got the UFO dome isolated, and I've got the windows isolated. And I'm going to stack all of these together with a bunch of effects to get my glows working.